Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, how Harvey Weinstein's guilty verdict could shape the future of Me Too cases and also force us to rethink the notion of consent. Also, equality on the high seas, how a group of fisherwomen in northern Spain are fighting against discrimination. We're also going to be talking to Marie-Christine Monfort, the president of the International Organisation for Women in the Seafood Industry. But we begin in the States, where disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein now faces up to 25 years in jail after being convicted of rape and sexual assault. The Weinstein case being a major catalyst for the Me Too movement. His guilty verdict could change the way sexual assault cases are tried and how the victims of such crimes are treated. Ellen Gainsford has the story.
He's guilty. And the verdict could send shockwaves through the American justice system. Harvey Weinstein's case highlights some of the complexities involved in trying sexual assault crimes. For Manhattan's top prosecutor, it's changed the course of history.
It's rape, even if there is no physical evidence, and even if it happened a long time ago. This is the new landscape for survivors of sexual assault in America, I believe, and this is a new day.
The charges brought against him in New York focused on two cases. Both women maintained contact with Weinstein after their assaults, and his defense team alleged that this ongoing contact was proof that the entire relationship was consensual. The prosecution used a forensic psychologist to explain that this is common behavior, as victims hope to normalize a traumatic experience. Despite these challenges, the jury found Weinstein guilty of rape and sexual assault, although he was acquitted on two more serious charges of predatory sexual assault. For his other alleged victims, the guilty verdict is a watershed moment.
Today is truly a landmark moment for survivors of rape and sexual assault, in that the public is seeing that men, even a man as powerful and famous as Weinstein, will be held accountable for their abuse of women.
Harvey Weinstein's case became synonymous with the Me Too movement, sparking thousands of women to come forward with their own stories of sexual assault, and opening up conversations around consent and power. For the Me Too activists, it's hoped his conviction could mark a turning point in the treatment of the victims of these crimes.
Now, across the world, women play a key role in the fisheries sector, but too often, like in so many other industries, their work remains both unrecognised and underpaid. In a moment, we'll be talking to Marie-Christine Monfort, who co-founded an international body to represent women in the seafood industry. But first, in Galicia, in northern Spain, a group of so-called pescadoras, the women who harvest shellfish, have created their own organisation to fight for equality. Luke Schrago has more.
Picking their way through Galician waters and sandbanks, rods and fishing nets in hand. These are the mariscadoras, women working the northwestern Spanish fishing sector. They earn about €1,000 a month, something that wasn't always the case.
Some of the women had no access to social security. It was a problem for retirement as years of work were unrecognized.
Things began to change in the 1990s. When fishing companies finally integrated the mariscadoras. With a status in the workforce came recognition, along with legal and social protections. But there's still a long way to go.
We have to fight for the same retirement rules as workers on fishing boats. We have to fight for our occupational health problems to be recognized. We have to fight for representation in the relevant decision-making bodies and commissions.
It's a common problem, with many women throughout the fishing industry still legally invisible. Net menders in the port of Vigo sit on concrete quays in the open air, working for €6 an hour, without the same benefits of others.
I think it's illogical that office workers are retiring early, and we aren't. This isn't fair. They work in comfort, while we are risking our health, working outside in the heat and cold. Illness, back problems. We have all of these health problems, but they aren't recognized.
Estimates put over 100,000 women working across Europe's fishing sector, but there are no official figures. Men fill out fishing crews while women take on menial jobs like mending the nets, cleaning the boats, or in smaller businesses helping out with administrative tasks. European initiatives on gender equality have been making inroads though, including helping with funding at this artisanal cannery founded by 3 women.
I think the fundamental thing is for the public to see women who are picking shellfish, steering boats, carrying heavy loads on their shoulders. For them to see exceptional companies built and run by women. For new generations to see this and to become a part of it.
The business specializes in tuna and olive oil and is moving into ready-made meals. A success story in breaking down traditional barriers to women in fishing, even as further efforts are still needed to overcome inequalities across Europe's blue economy.
Now, watching that report with me in the studio is Marie-Christine Monfort, the co-founder and president of the International Organisation for Women in the Seafood Industry. Marie-Christine, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Watching that report, why is your sector still so much male-dominated?
I think it is not male-dominated, as you say. In terms of figures, the seafood industry gives jobs to some 200 million people all over the world, and half of them are women. So let me tell you a bit more about what we call the seafood industry. Of course, there is the fishing activities and also the fast-rising aquaculture activities and the seafood processing, as we have seen in this film. I think it's important as well to remember that the seafood industry provides proteins to all over the world, to everyone, every single person on this planet eats seafood in a way or another one. So it is a very money-making industry with an turnover of over $150 billion. So it's a really big industry. And as I said, it gives jobs to 200 million people, of which 50% are women. So you see, the specificity of this industry is not that women are not in, but women are invisible.
They're unrecognised, aren't they?
And unrecognised and discriminated, yes.
For instance, your organisation has carried out a lot of research, and I'm just going to quote some figures back to you. You've found that women, for instance, occupy 90% of all jobs in the labour-intensive seafood processing industry, as we saw there in that report, but less than 10% of corporate board members and only 1% of CEOs. Those figures are pretty depressing, aren't they?
They are. At the same time, it shows that there is much room for improvement, room for development. This is why we are there, to try to make those figures change over time. But remember that this is a very traditional industry, somehow archaic and based on patriarchal rules. So things have to change. It will. I'm very positive on that, but it will probably take a bit of time.
But it is an unequal industry, isn't it?
It is totally unequal. And we used to say that if the seafood industry was a country, it would be probably one of the most unequal countries on the planet. So yes, this is very much unequal. I could give you thousands of examples, but I don't know how much time we have.
Okay. Well, let's just talk about what is being done to boost equality in the industry. We got a sense of that in that report from those women in Galicia. Are there any other countries around the world that are indeed leading the way?
I think that from this documentary, we see 2 important things which could inspire other countries. The one thing is that women have decided to make changes for their own lives, so they organize themselves, and there are several organizations in Spain, especially in Galicia, the northern province of Spain. And the second thing is that they have received the support of the Galician government and the Spanish government. So the public authorities have decided to support women, because without that, without those public funding somehow, they could not have done as much as they have. And there is a third thing. This is the involvement of private companies. So far, they have been quite shy. They haven't done much. But I can feel, I can sense, we in our organization, WSI, we start feeling that private companies want to do better.
So, Marie-Christine, what needs to be done in order to attract more women to the industry?
I think the question at the moment is not really to attract more women, but to give women at the moment equal opportunities than men. Remember that 50% of all workers are women, but they are not occupying the same position as men. So I think a good thing would be to attract or to give women equal opportunities and to eradicate the gender norms and to give them the possibility to consider working in this industry. This is a fantastic industry, but at the moment, the situation for women are appalling in many cases.
Marie-Christine Monfort, we're going to have to leave it there. It's been great speaking to you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And that's it for now. You can also connect with us via our Facebook page, that of course being France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. So until our next show, bye for now.